Welcome to my journey. This will be lessons that we can apply to our life and a little more in depth about the chapter. So we are in Genesis 20, 1 through 18. So we see again that Abraham is repeating his same sin. He tells Sarah to lie and say she is his sister so that it will save his life. Abraham couldn't resist the temptation of lying if he thought his life was in danger. Now, even though Sarah is his half-sister, a half lie is still a lie. And this just means that there was a hole in his spiritual armor. And we all have holes in our spiritual armor. That means there's temptations and things that we just have a hard time resisting. There's things that we make mistakes and we sin, but God is always there in our corner. He's always cheering us on. He's always encouraging us to get back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. Keep talking to me, and I'm going to help you overcome this temptation. I'm going to help you overcome this sin if you're really sincere about it. Now, Abraham thought that if he told this little white lie, that it wouldn't really be a big deal and it wouldn't affect anybody. But it did. When we sin, it affects everybody around us. If you have sex with somebody else, guess what? It's going to affect you. It's going to affect them. It's going to affect the children. It's going to affect the family members. If you steal something, you're taking something, money or valuable things from somebody else that they worked really hard for. That's going to affect them. If you kill somebody, you're going to affect that person's whole family, and their life will be forever changed. So sin never affects just one person. It affects everybody around you. So that's the one thing we need to be aware of. Now, if we go into the king said he unknowingly brought Sarah into his house. And he was about to have sex with her, and God stopped him. He stopped him through a dream and said, hey, you're surely going to die. And while the king asked God, but will you slay us because I didn't know? And God said, but that was your warning. Here's your warning. So even if we sin unknowingly, God's going to give us warnings. He's going to give us guidance and direction, and we have to heed those. So even sin unknowingly is still sin. There's still a punishment. There's still something that goes with that. Say you run a red light and you're thinking, I'm late, so I'm going to run through this red light, and here comes somebody the opposite way and you hit them. You can't say, well, I didn't know there was somebody there. It was still wrong to run the red light. And I think many times we do this in our life, and we do it with small things like running a red light or a stop sign, or we're speeding, and we tend to see that we get away with it and we don't think it's a big deal. So then it makes bigger things sometimes easier for us to try to make excuses or look the other way. But just as God stepped in and talked to the king, there's many times that God steps in and prevents us from doing something. He will step in and protect us from the consequences of something. I feel like the easiest way to explain that is, how many times have you almost got in a wreck, but you didn't? That's thanks to God. God intervened and He prevented that wreck, whether He caused you to see, hey, this is coming, I'm going to swerve and go off the road, but everybody's still safe, or I slam on my brakes and I stop before I hit that person. That's still God providing for you and protecting you and preventing something really bad from happening. So we have to remember that God intervenes even when we're not around. And sometimes we have punishments, and sometimes things happen and we would like to have answers, and we might not always get the answers right away. Down the road we may, and then other times we just may not. So we just have to trust God all the time in everything that we do. So may God be with you in everything and in every way.